Hey everyone, Gherky here with Exis Network, bringing you another King Arthur Legend Rise video. So this is going to be volume one of our beginner's tips. There will be a big beginner's guide later on that encompasses a lot more than just this, but these are very specific tips that we believe are vital to, you know, progression, efficient progression. So we're going to start this video off with our main character, Arthur. So later in the game, it's chapter 7 or 8 or some 9, whatever. I haven't gotten there yet on this particular account. You are forced to fight a boss. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but you're forced to fight a boss where you have to use Arthur. And I would recommend his CP be somewhere between 24 and 25k. I mean, you can probably wiggle yourself around there a little bit depending on his build. But what's going to happen is if you don't level Arthur up, you're going to reach a point in the game where you're walled. You can't make any progress. You can't do anything until you level him up. And depending on whether or not you have resources, saved up, this could prevent you from progressing for a whole day or even into a second day. Arthur is not a bad unit. His weapons have some decent damage and skills on him, like defense break, things like that. Make sure you use him at the beginning of the game. I thought he had a defense break on him. Alright, I lied to you. He doesn't have a defense break. Keep him on your main team. As soon as you beat this particular stage, you can take him out of your team. Use him for expedition or whatever. I mean, you don't have to build him, but you will get caught at a point where you have to go farm resources, get him up to level 50. Swap gear over. It's better off if you play with him up until that point. Okay. Beginner's tip number 2. Let's go into the adventure mode. No, main story. Alright, we're going to talk about the chest and whatnot, the items that you have to find on a map. I've seen a lot of people asking questions about where this is, where that is. There's a couple good maps out there, but when you're in the game and you can't find something, it actually shows you where it's at, which I'm going to show you here in a second. So we're going to go up here, and I haven't done anything up here yet. So let's say you're missing the last soul fragment. Hit view hint. It will show you on the map where it's at, and it'll even tell you somewhere on the bridge of worship. This works for your chests, your soul fragments, and what are these called? The hidden tails. Old owner of the Cameliard lands. Tells you where it's at. Can't tell you how many people I've seen ask questions about this. There are a few of these in the game where it's not straightforward how you get it, but it'll show you the location, and there you go. Now I am going to say one thing over here. In chapter 3, there is a chest or something that it shows it over here, but it tells you it's in the spectral forest, which is over here somewhere. I'm just letting you know it is over here. Don't pay attention to the pin on the map. So far, everything else has been pretty accurate. Beginner's tip number 3. I am going to put out a gem spending guide to show the things that you should be buying, the most efficient way to do it, what not to buy, what not waste your gems on. But this is rather important in case it's something you haven't come across, and especially for free-to-play players, because there is quite a bit of free currency in the game. So you're going to go to the shop, and you're going to go down here to basic. Every single day, you get 2 half-price summons. Daily summon pack for 140. You get 2 of them. Normally they're 140 each. This is half price. This is pretty much a mandatory buy every day. Don't forget to buy this. This is the absolute most important thing that you should be spending your gems on, because it's giving you two summons a day at half price. So over the period of the month, if you buy one, if you were to buy 1 summon a day, you'd be getting 30 free because they're half price. Very important. Okay, now, that beginner's tip number 4. Okay, is going to be about your skills in battle. You know, I've watched a few people stream, and you know they're losing battles. Their vigor is poorly managed, and I'm going to show you how to set up your skills so you don't, you know, run out of mana, vigor, or have issues. So hit the cogwheel up here. Go to skill order settings. You can set in which order your skills are used or prioritized, and you could actually make it so where you don't use a skill at all. So my general rule of thumb is this: when you're in PvE and you're doing regular stages or you're farming or whatnot, you're going to want to have one unit that has an AoE use their ult. And in my case, I'm using Kierden. Because she actually, when you build her right with HP, she actually hits like a tank. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your primary, your secondary, and your tertiary skills in here if you want. The thing is if you were to put 2 of these on ult, you would almost never, one of your units would almost never use their ult, because these cost 4 or 5. If the cost went down a little bit, you can manage it. And then you set up your priority with your skills. Like my Clementine's my healer. I always want her to use her AoE heal first, and if she doesn't have the vigor to do that, she'll do the attack that heals 1 unit. Same thing with my other DPS units. You know, this is very important. This is going to make or break your ability to beat certain stages and kill certain bosses. I do recommend manual play boss fights. Make sure you get in here and you set it up. Every time you change content type, you have to do this. If you're in story mode, you do this. If you go to the dungeon, you do that. If you go to the expedition, you do it there. Every different piece of content, you do it. If you swap your unit out or build a whole new team, go in there and set these skills up. This is vitally important to efficient progression in the game. Okay. Now, tip number 5. This is going to... some people may find this to be a little controversial. I don't care. Gear farming. For the time being, this may change in endgame. The gear dungeon is not the best place to farm gear. You're fighting a boss that gets incrementally harder, and you have to tailor your team around it. The higher you go, the more difficult the mechanics are. Like, for instance, you know, if you go and you fight, who is it? Who's the bear? He's over here in power-up dungeon. Him. At the first 2 or 3 levels, it straight up attack, kill him or whatever, but once you get to like 3 or 4, he starts to hibernate. And once he comes out of hibernation, he heals. You know, when you're trying to push a new stage, if you don't have a heal block, you will not win. Even if you can sustain, you'll be in that battle for fucking 6 hours or until you stop the battle. Excuse me. So, again, these get harder and harder and harder. And, you know, let's say I beat stage 4. No, stage 3. You go over here, you know, it drops 1, 2, 3, 4 different sets, 2-star to 3-star, common to rare. Okay? 4 different sets. Now watch this. Go to adventure. Go to your main story. You know, I wouldn't recommend doing it on the first couple chapters, but like, okay, let's see, chapter 4. You see this little icon right here? That means chapter 4. Each one of these stages drops, what is this? A healing item. A healing piece. So if you have a healer and you want to farm, I think it's plus 30% for 4 pieces, you would go. Each one of these drops a different piece. Helmet. Chest. Etc., etc. Again, I wouldn't do it on the lower stages because, you know, 2 or 3 star, you know, common to rare, you might not like it. But watch this. You know, I forgot what these are. What is this? This is hit. So this is now 2 to 4 star common to rare. you could pick the piece. You know, like if you're going to build your character, and let's say you need a ring with attack or I don't know, vigor or something on it, you can farm specifically the ring. I'm in chapter 7, but this is where it gets good. Hard mode. Okay, this is life set. It is now 3-star to 5-star, uncommon to legendary, and the difficulty to beat lot is much, much, much lower than to beat the equivalent dungeon for that piece of gear. And over here on stage 2 hard, this drops attack set. This is one of, as of right now, because I haven't unlocked the other dungeons and equipment yet, or in the story, this is my favorite set for my DPSs. Obviously. 3 to 5-star, uncommon to legendary. This is where you need to farm your gear. You go in here, and I do believe it's cheaper. What's the stamina cost? So, oh, just in case I forgot to mention, the last stage drops a random piece of all the other 6 stages, because there's 6 pieces of gear. If you want to farm a specific piece, go in here. If you want to farm random pieces, go to the boss. Here's my recommendation, because the 3, what are they? Ring, brooch, or ring, necklace, earrings. Those are the 3 pieces of gear that have random main stats on it that you can get attack percent, HP percent, etc. I'm sure 1 or 2 of the pieces might not roll for all of the good stats, but my recommendation would be, if you want a necklace, go in here, or a ring, go in here, do let's see how many. It's 4 stamina. 4 stamina. And this is what it drops. It can drop 3 to 5. Like, it's a no-brainer, man. And look, you get small XP potions, you get the common relic breaths. You're getting unit XP, relic XP, gold, and a piece of gear you're trying to farm in one stage. Now, it is 4 stamina for targeted farming of your gear. Targeted farming of your gear. 4 stamina. And you get to pick the gear you want. Equipment dungeon. This costs... What does this cost? 6. What does this cost? 6. And it goes up progressively. So it's 2 less per stage. And look, 2 to 3 star. The other one's 3 to star, and it goes up to legendary. This is a no-brainer. Make sure you do this. This is very important. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I'm going to get this done. Like, comment, subscribe, and keep your eyes out for Beginner's Tips Volume 2. Peace.